Welcome back to the Be Code by Tiffany, the space where women rise into their truth, reclaim their power, and come home to the version of themselves they've forgotten, abandoned, or never fully met. Today we're talking about the T in my Be Code methodology, tenacity, the deep, steady strength inside you that refuses to quit even when life feels heavy, noisy, chaotic, or uncertain. Tenacity isn't flashy, it isn't loud, and it isn't perfect. It is the quiet choice that you make to keep going, especially when everything in you just wants to stop. And to show you what tenacity looks like in real life, I want to share the story of my own reinvention. The moment that I realized that if I didn't change my life would change me. This episode of the Be Code was brought to you by my upcoming book, How to Become a Bitch and Live Happily Ever After. In this book, I reclaim bitch as an acronym. It's not about attitude, it's about freedom. And inside, I take you deeper into each of these 5 pillars, expanding them into a full journey back to yourself. This book is my heart, my story, and the framework that has helped countless women transform their lives. It comes out this year, but you don't have to wait. I created a free Be Code starter guide just for you. 5 pillars, 5 practices, 1 powerful shift, so that you can start stepping into your bold, independent, tenacious, confident, and honest self, which just happens to be the best version of you. It's yours at blossomlifeco.com/Be Code starter guide. Download it today and start living your Be Code. So before we dive into today's story, I want to take a moment to talk about what tenacious truly means, especially inside the Be Code. Tenacity is not about perfection, and it's not about having everything figured out, and it's definitely not about being fearless. Tenacity is a commitment to keep moving even when you don't feel ready. It's that quiet strength behind the scenes that no one sees, and it's choosing to show up on the days when your doubt is loud. It's facing discomfort, resistance, and uncertainty, and still saying, I'm not giving up on myself. Tenacity is built in the small moments, the early mornings when you just want to stay in bed, and the evenings when you're so exhausted but you still choose yourself, and the days when life is so chaotic but you take 1 step toward your dreams anyway. Tenacity is the muscle that grows every time you do something uncomfortable. It's the decision to keep writing when the words don't flow. Boy, do I know that. Keep learning when everything feels new. Keep speaking even when your voice shakes. Keep dreaming even when the world tells you that you're too late. Or how about too old? And keep believing in a version of you that no one else can see yet. Tenacity isn't glamorous, it's not dramatic, and it's not loud. Tenacity is a woman standing in the truth of who she is becoming and refusing to abandon herself. And today, I'm going to share the story of how I had to learn tenacity in the most real way possible, through a wake-up call that forced me to choose myself, my truth, and more importantly, my future. So when I was 57, something big happened, something that I didn't even see coming. For decades, I had identified myself through everyone else. I was a mother, a wife, caretaker of a busy home with dogs, cats, and sometimes even horses and cows and chickens, and you can't even imagine. But it was constant movement, and I was the glue, I was the nurturer, the one holding everything and everyone together. But who was I? Outside of all of that, who was I? And I didn't know. And then my body started to answer the question that I was too afraid to ask. My left shoulder froze, and then my right shoulder froze. And I began having heart palpitations that would make me sit up at night, in the middle of the night, just in agonizing pain. And then breathing felt tight and shallow. And my chest felt heavy, like something inside of me was collapsing. My body was screaming the truth that I had been hiding. I wasn't living my truth. I was living a lie. I had abandoned myself so deeply that my body finally said, okay, If you won't stop, I will. And that was my wake-up call. Painful, uncomfortable, and yes, impossible to ignore. And I remember standing in the bathroom looking in the mirror and seeing a woman who had spent her entire life as someone else's everything and nothing of her own. And something inside me whispered, "It's time to come home." That whisper was a moment that everything shifted. Not because I suddenly felt brave, but because I couldn't keep living the lie that I was living, or the way I was living. I didn't know where to begin, though. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know how to even do things that I had normally done before, like writing. My creativity had been tucked away for so long that I had to learn how to access it again and to trust it, and most importantly, to just believe in it. I didn't feel confident, I didn't feel ready, and most importantly, I didn't even feel qualified. Plus, let's be honest, I lived in a house with 5 dogs barking all day, 2 young adults working from home, doors opening, calls happening, life happening, the doorbell ringing, just constant noise and chaos. So how do you reinvent yourself in all of that? How do you even quiet the noise in your mind to even think about where you begin? How do you start a podcast when every recording is interrupted by a bark, a question, a knock, a need? How do you quiet the doubts in your mind that say, "You're too old. You're starting too late. You don't have it figured out. You don't know enough. Who do you think you are?" Well, I'll tell you, you do it with tenacity. Because tenacity is choosing to move even when you doubt everything. It's writing again even when your creativity feels rusty. It's recording episodes in a noisy house because your message matters. It's sharing parts of yourself that you've kept private for years. It's believing in yourself even when it feels uncomfortable, vulnerable, or terrifying. So I reinvented myself at 57 and I rose at 58. Not because I felt powerful, even though I did, but because I finally told myself the truth. Tenacity was my roar, but it was also my whisper. It was my honesty, my decision that I was no longer willing to abandon myself. And from that moment, everything began to change. I created Blossom Life Coaching. I wrote books. I created workbooks for girls who needed light. I learned to speak again, not the polished, pleasing version of me, but the raw, authentic one. I built the B code from the most honest part of my soul. And I didn't do it quietly. I didn't do it perfectly. And I didn't do it without fear. But I did it with tenacity, the choice to rise even in the chaos, even in the doubt, even in the noise, even in the fear of being seen. And if there's one thing that I know for sure, it is this: you are never too old, it's never too late, never too far gone to reinvent yourself. Your truth is always waiting, and your power is always accessible. Your next chapter is always available. So if you can, I want you to close your eyes. And if you're driving, just soften your jaw and breathe. Breathe in for 4 and hold for 4. And then breathe out through your mouth for 4. And ask yourself this gently: where in my life have I abandoned myself? Which part of me has been tucked away? Which truth have I ignored? Which dream have I put off? And now, again, if you're not driving, I want you to place your hand on your heart and I want you to say, "I'm coming back for you." Let it land, let it soften you, let it awaken you. This is how reinvention begins, and this is how tenacity brings you home. Let's try a flip the switch on tenacity. So let's think about a sabotaging thought for tenacity, and it often sounds like this: "I can't do this anymore," or "this is too much," or "I don't know if I'm strong enough," or "I don't know what's the point in even continuing." And now let's flip the switch. Question it. Does this thought serve the woman I'm becoming? No, it actually doesn't. It keeps you small. Now let's flip it immediately to the truth. I can take the next step. I can pause, but I won't quit on myself. I don't need to do everything, just the next thing. I am stronger than this moment. I rise gently, but I rise. Now I want you to repeat it every time a doubt shows up. This is how you rewire tenacity, not through force, but through self-loyalty. So my intention for you in this tenacious chapter is simple but powerful. I want you to know that you are stronger than the moments that made you question yourself. I want you to feel the truth that tenacity isn't about being fearless. It's about being willing to show up, willing to take the next step, willing to keep going even when life is loud, messy, or inconvenient. My intention is that you start trusting your ability to move forward even when you don't feel ready. Because most of the powerful, life-changing decisions you make won't happen in ideal conditions. Trust me on that one. They happen in real life, in the noise, in the chaos, in the doubts, in the imperfections. I want you to understand that tenacity is built in the moments when you're tempted to quit, when the fear gets loud, when the inner critic gets bossy, when the resistance says, not today. When the circumstances are anything but perfect, tenacity is choosing to begin anyway. My intention is that you stop waiting for that perfect time. The silent house, the clear calendar, the confidence you think you're missing, and start now with what you have and exactly where you are. I want you to know that it's okay if your tenacity looks small, and if your progress looks slow, and if your steps are shaky. Small steps still count. Slow movement is still movement, and shaky beginnings still build empires. My intention for you is that you stay committed to yourself on the days when doubt tries to convince you to quit, and especially on the days when you want to hide. Tenacity is staying when hiding feels easier. Tenacity is trying again when yesterday didn't go as you planned. Tenacity is believing that your future deserves more effort than your fear. And above all, my intention is this: that you never underestimate your ability to rise. Not once, not twice, but as many times as it takes. Because you can, you will, and you are. And I want you to know that you're not broken. You don't need fixie. What you need is remembering how to tap into your worth, your voice, your power. And that's what we're going to do here together, here on this podcast, because you are the heroine of your own story. I'm just here to remind you. So I hope you tune in and join me every other week to get your dose of truth, empowerment, and perhaps a gentle nudge to become the woman you were always meant to be.